I've always loved myself. I've always been pretty confident, but the music career, especially in our Latin culture, the thinner you are, the prettier you are, the more accepted you are. That's something my mom struggled with. And my grandpa would always tell her, he would say, si no bajas de peso, if you're not going to find a man. And it really did, it affected her. We did a part of the interview, and then on the break, he literally looked at me and he said, ¿cuándo vas a bajar de peso? Le dije, acabo de perder 15. You know what he told me? He said, pues no se nota. I was like, What up, guys? Happy Monday. I am so glad to be in front of the mic today talking to you guys. I think this is an episode you guys will really enjoy because it's about something I think a lot of us have dealt or will deal with. I'm going to be opening up about how weight loss affects how we think, how we feel, and even how people treat us. It's just going to be me and you today. So let's hop into it. This is Chiquis and Chill. So as you guys probably know already, weight and body image is something I've dealt with my entire life. And as women, I think so many of us are taught that our value or self-worth is tied up to our appearance. How pretty we are or how thin we are really matters in our culture and in society, and it's annoying. This episode is going to be divided into two parts. In this first part, I'm going to be talking about my journey all the way from the beginning. So let's talk about it. As a kid, I was always a little bit overweight since I can remember. I was always thicker than the other girls in school. I always struggled with buying clothes. I think it started where I started really noticing was when I was 10 years old and I would be made fun of. And it was tough. I want to say that it started when I realized that what was happening to me, because I was sexually abused by my dad, was not right. Because it started when I was 8 years old. And at 10, the conversations at school started changing with my friends, and I started realizing what sex is. And that's where, fifth grade, they start talking about sex education. And it just started kind of tormenting me. And I started holding on to my weight. And that's where it just started, spiraling out of control. And it just started, I think, getting worse. As I got older, my period came when I was 12 years old. My body started changing, and then it's been a thing. You know what I mean? So I talked to my therapist about this, and she said, yeah, it's because you weren't expressing certain things. So you were holding on to your weight as a form of protection. So anywho, it's something I've been dealing with forever. At home, it was always a conversation because my mom also struggled with her weight. And it could, it's hereditary. You know what I mean? It's something that I think comes from my grandfather's side. They're a little bit more on the heavier side. And so that's something my mom struggled with. And my grandpa would always tell her, and I know this because she would tell me, he would say, si no bajas de peso, if you don't lose weight, you're not going to find a man. No vas a encontrar esposo si estás así. You can't be fat. You can't be a gorda. You know what I mean? And it really did. It affected her. And then she had me at 15. Imagine her little body, because she was fairly on the thinner side, I guess, at 15. She had me, she got pregnant, and she gained 80 pounds. That's a lot. And she just said, oh my God, she would always say, you fucked up my body. But I'm like, okay. She's like, my stretch marks came, she gained so much weight. And she was young. And then 4 years later, she had my sister, and you know what I mean? So it's something that she struggled with, and she didn't want us to go through what she had gone through and how she felt. So at home, it was always we were on every freaking diet that you can think of. It was the Zone diet. It was Atkins. It was, all these things. And we couldn't have fun cereals. We would only have Kicks because, back then we were on, WIC and welfare and food stamps. So it was certain stuff that we can afford. And it was at WIC, they would give us Kicks. So it was just a different type of childhood. My lunches were different, and we had to have non-fat milk. I mean, imagine being freaking 11, 12 years old, and it's you have to have egg whites and tomatoes and a slice of a grapefruit, the half of a grapefruit, and non-fat milk, when all your friends are having bacon and freaking pancakes. So it was always a conversation, and it was always you have to work out. To the point where I think my sisters and I, we all feel the same. Jackie always talks about it. My sister Jackie always talks about how my mom sent her to school with her lunch in a brown bag And it was a can of green beans and some tuna and a fork. Like, that's what she had to eat. And she was so embarrassed. She didn't even put it like in a cute little Tupperware. She just put it in a bag and said, here, open it, and this is what you're going to have. And she even sent Jackie and even Jenica for a little bit to what they call fat camp. Literally, it's called fat camp, to lose weight. So it was always a conversation. And my mom would be like, if I would eat something, she'd be like, oh my God, it's going to go straight to your thighs or things like that. So it was like so in my mind. Anyways, I mean, she did help me lose weight. There was a time when my mom and I weren't talking. She sent me to go live at my grandma's house. And then when I came back to live with her, she put me on this strict diet, dude, strict diet. And I had to just dance my way every day, washing clothes in the garage. I think I've told you guys the story before, but to lose weight. And I did lose weight. She was a very good trainer. Even I want to say I was 11, 12 years old in our living room in Long Beach, listening to Michael Jackson. And she would do a freaking dance class. She was so good at dancing. And we would sit there and do aerobics, and her friends and her and I would do it. And it was just a thing. So it's something that our whole family has struggled with. And it's been something that's been embedded in our brain. And you guys know that food is such a huge part of our culture. You go to your tia's house, your grandma's house, to anyone's house. It's like they want to feed you, and they don't want to feed you a little bit. They want to feed you a lot because that's the way they show that they love you. And then if you don't eat it or you say no, se offenden, they get kind of hurt. So then you feel I have to eat it. And well, as a Mexican, as a Latina, you have your beans and your rice and then your protein, and you have tortillas, or sometimes you have bread. It's it's a lot of carbs, so it's something that in our household, it's here, this is how I'm going to show you my love. And also our culture loves to use manteca, you know what I mean? Instead of using olive oil. So it's little things like that throughout the years that I've learned that, yeah, the beans are refried beans are delicious with manteca, with lard, but there are healthier ways of cooking them, but it's in our culture. It's part of us, And not only that, but I remember hearing from everyone in my family that it's you have to finish everything on your plate because there are starving children in the world, and there are kids that don't have food, and you're so lucky, so you need to eat it all. You know what I mean? One time I remember my mom made, I think it was piernitas de pollo, chicken legs, and she made peas and carrots, and I think there was white rice, and I didn't really like the bone. You know what I mean? I was more of a chicken breast type of girl, but the chicken legs are less expensive. So she would make that a lot. And one day I kind of I was I'm just going to pretend I ate it, and I threw it in the trash. Ooh, girl. She made me get it out of the trash can and eat it right in front of her. She's like, nope, you're going to eat it all, and you're going to eat your peas and your carrots. She made me get it out of the trash can, you guys. She's like, you're not going to throw away food in this household. If you don't like it, then you need to move out, or you need to give me money, and food is expensive, and you're not going to and I was just I'm oh my God, okay. You know what I mean? I was well, I don't like it. She's like, oh, you can't pick and choose. So it was a thing. It's you eat what mom is making, or you don't eat at all. And sometimes I wouldn't eat because she's like, okay, if you don't like what I'm making, then you're not going to eat. And I wouldn't eat till the next day, dinner time. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, or maybe I did it in my book. I don't remember. I have 3 books, you guys, but people always ask me, okay, did you get liposuction? Have you gotten any cosmetic work done? And yes, I have. Before, I was a little bit more embarrassed to say it because it was frowned upon, and it was oh my God, only celebrities do that. But I had my first liposuction when I was 18, almost 19 years old. My mom took me to TJ with her doctor, Buen Rostro. God rest his soul. He's no longer alive. But he did my mom's liposuction, and my mom was so consumed with us looking good. And she's like, you're 18, we need to get you more of a waist. And so she took me at 19 years old. I had no choice. I mean, I guess I did have a choice. I could have said no, but it was kind of no, it's going to be good for you. It was so celebrated, I guess, that I was okay, cool. Yeah. So we went, and I got my first liposuction, and I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I was oh damn, I look good. You feel me? It was the first one. So my body was a virgin. So it's that's the best kind of time, I guess, to have a liposuction, because it just comes out so much better. So it did help my self-esteem. I did feel good. My waist was a lot smaller. My arms, I think it did a full, on my back and stuff like that. It was a full 360 type of liposuction. So I was very happy. The only thing is, I didn't take care of myself. And that's the thing. People think, oh, liposuction is a forever fix. And that is not the case. If anything, you can ruin the shape of your body if you don't take care of yourself, because they're removing fat cells from your body that your body needs to survive. So if they remove it from your abdomen and your back and your arms, well, guess what? It's going to go to your legs. And that's exactly what happened to me. At 18, 19, like, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I was eating freely. And yes, my mom tried to keep us on track, but I mean, we're teenagers. I would go to school. I was driving. I would go to, fast food restaurants behind her back and all this stuff. So I wasn't taking care of myself, and I felt comfortable and I felt just content with my body. So I'm like, okay, I can eat. So it started going to my fingers, to my neck, to my cheeks, to my legs. So the fat will go somewhere. Trust me. Your body is like, okay, you need this amount of freaking fat in your body. I'm going to find a place to live. And it does. Even it'll go down to your toes. So that's what I learned throughout the years. And after getting, I don't know, I probably have gotten 3 liposuctions, you guys. 3. Okay. Throughout the years, because it's like, oh my God, now the fat went to my legs. Okay. I want to like kind of bring down my thighs now. And and oh my God, my arms got big again. Do it again. So it's like, I've done liposuction, but it's like now I'm so turned off by liposuction. Like, people think that I did liposuction now to lose weight, and I didn't. I'm cool. Whatever you want to do. I'm a huge advocate for like cosmetic surgery. Do it. Do your thing. Like, whatever's going to make you happy. But I did not this last time. And honestly, I try to just stay away from it because, like I said, it can really change your body. And I'm not mad at my mom for taking me to get plastic surgery so young. But I wish I would have waited, to be honest, until I educated myself a little bit more. I never really had an eating disorder. I mean, I'm the type of person that I eat if I'm happy. I eat if I'm sad. I love food. I'm a foodie. I love it. It's part of what makes me happy. And now that I'm getting more mature, I'm getting older, I'm realizing that food should be something that just nourishes our body and not see it as something like that I absolutely, yes, I need it, but it's more of like having a different type of relationship with food. I did start taking I don't know if you guys remember, I think they still have them out there, but Hydroxycut, because I saw it on a commercial. So I ordered it and I started taking that at a very young age. And that also, I think, threw my body and my system through a loop. I was so young. I was too young to take that stuff. I must have started at, I don't know, like 20, 19, something like that. I even took breast growth pills that I saw on TV. Yes, I'm that girl. The infomercials, I'm that girl that, yes, they always get me. So my mom would always make fun of me for that. So I would order all kinds of stuff. And I'm not I think it really did. It fucked things up, and my hormones. I was taking estrogen for my boobs to get bigger because I wanted bigger boobs. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? And it's all because of what we see on TV and all this stuff. And now with social media. So it's I feel it's important for us to have these conversations, especially in our culture, about food and about educating ourselves before doing things, because it can really affect us in the long run. I never made myself throw up or anything like that. I was just taking pills and doing even phentermine. I did phentermine for a little bit, and all that stuff affects you. It really does. And once you stop taking it, like the Hydroxycut and the phentermine and all that stuff that helps you lose weight really quick, because we all want that magic pill that's going to do it like this, real fast. Once you stop taking it, you are going to be a lot heavier than you first started. You know what I mean? You're going to get bigger. You know what I mean? It just happens because your body's like, oh my God, where's that thing, that drug that's helping me feel good and lose weight? And then amphetamine, ooh, let me tell you, it made me feel so crazy, jittery. And well, anyways, that's all stuff that happened before my singing career. You know what I mean? I did all this crazy stuff before my singing career. I think I did the first 2 liposuctions before I was 26, I think. And then I started singing at 27? And that was a whole other situation. I never had an issue, no matter how big I was or how small I was. I think the lightest I've ever been was when my mom put me on that diet when I was, 15, when I moved back with her. I was 128 pounds. That was the lightest I've ever been, I think, in my life, besides when I was 6. The last time I was a size 6 was when I was 6 years old, you guys. Right now, I can tell you I'm a size 6, but we'll get into that later. So anywho, I never had an issue finding someone. I always had a boyfriend or talking to someone, even when I was younger at school, 16, 17 years old. And so I never really thought like, okay, I know I'm a little thicker than everyone else around me, like a lot of girls my age. But when I really noticed, oh man, okay, well, I guess I'm a lot bigger than I think I am, because when I started singing and I started doing reality, obviously television makes you gain at least 10 pounds more, if not more than 10 pounds. I just started getting a lot of criticism, like a lot of people just talking crap on television, on social media. And it really just started affecting me. And it started like, I started seeing myself differently. Like I've always loved myself. I've always been pretty confident. I mean, sometimes when I was like by myself, I think I'd probably be like, oh man, I wish this was a little different. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But the music career, it's like, especially you guys, that's another thing in our Latin culture. It's like the thinner you are, the prettier you are, the more accepted you are, you know? And it's like, if you are an artist, if you are an actress, like you need to be a certain freaking size. Like, and if you're not, then it's like, what are you teaching people? It's like, in order to be considered one of the beautiful people, like you need to be a certain size, especially because you're on TV. And that's what I would get all the time. Like, oh my God, you have such a pretty face, but when are you going to lose weight? Literally like that. I'll never forget Don Francisco. I don't know if you guys ever watched Don Francisco Sábado Gigante. I went to his show. We were on a break. We did a part of the interview. And then on the break, he literally looked at me and he said, okay, ¿cuándo vas a bajar de peso? Le dije, acabo de perder 15. I just finished, like, actually, I just lost 15 pounds. You know what he told me? He said, pues no se nota. He said, well, you can't really tell. What? I was like, oh. So then the cameras turned back on and I'm just like, oh my God, I felt like crap, dude. Like literally looked at me like, oh, you can't tell that you just lost 15 pounds. Dude, I'll never forget. I was just like, dude, I grew up watching you with my grandma. And now I'm like, dude, you're not even that thin yourself. And then you find these people on social media talking crap and saying, oh, you're fat, you're this, you're that. And then you look at their profile picture and they're bigger than you. And I'm just like, what? I was so confused. And I'm not going to mention another person that has said that I'm big and that my legs are too big and stuff like that. Like, he's very big, extremely. And that's fine. Whatever tickles your pickle. Like, I don't care. I'm not one to go and judge people for their size, or I will never call, oh, you're fat, or like, no, I cannot. But this person, this guy is really big. And he has had the audacity to say like, oh my God, her legs are just so fat. Like, and then it just sounds worse in Spanish. Like, oh my God, sus piernas están bien gordas. And it's like, oh my, dude, it's been tough. It's been tough to just give people in the media sometimes the middle finger and just say, you know what, F you guys. And I've had to work through it because I'm like, no, you're not going to break me. You are not going to break me. You're not going to stop me. I'm not going to give up because you think I should, because I'm not the size you want me to be. No, absolutely not. So it's been tough. It has been tough. But thank goodness, amongst everything my mom taught me, and yes, how to eat better and how to work out and everything, she also was a woman that was considered out of the norm completely for having 5 children, a single mother, and not being a size 2, and a very successful singer, that she always taught me to be confident and to love myself, and never had an issue with finding someone to love her. So that's one thing I thank her for so much, because no matter what, no matter how much it was like a conversation and the biggest topic in our household was losing weight, it was also about self-love. So I think that's what got me through, because I was like, well, my mom went through it. They talked about her a lot, and she became the biggest regional Mexican artist. So we're going to be all right. So thank God, and shout out to Jenni. I love you, Mom. But okay, guys. So we're going to stop this episode right here. Stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow, because that's what I'm going to talk about, my weight loss and how it's affected me and how I'm treated. I'm also going to open up about my experience with Ozempic. It's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to listen. Hasta mañana. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast, and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and check us out on YouTube.